Hi, I'm Pamela with the Tapestry of Healing, and I'm a certified grief counselor. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She was actually the pioneer in the field of grief and loss, and she developed 5 stages through that. She grew up as a triplet in Switzerland, and her father wanted her to go into business. Yet she had no interest in that. She became a psychiatrist. And she started working with dying children. And when she worked with dying children, she developed stages that she saw that they went through. And you go through these same stages after the loss as well. Denial and isolation. We may deny the loss that has taken place, and we may withdraw from our usual social contacts. Very difficult for us to have any social contact. Particularly if you find many people in a crowd or the noise level. It's very hard when you're in that acute, intense grief stage. Very hard for you. And it's really important to just honor what you really need at that point. The next stage is anger. You may feel furious at the event, the illness, the world, him or herself, even if you could not have stopped it. It didn't matter because the anger comes along with guilt, resentment, regret. So many aspects of anger come out. And the next stage is bargaining. The grieving person may bargain with God, asking if I could do this, will you take away the loss? What am I doing? What have I done wrong? Or they'll bargain with the medical community. They'll bargain with anyone. And they'll go, ask about that. The next stage she developed was depression. One may feel numb and exhibit signs of clinical depression. However, it really isn't clinical depression. It's the natural order of our grief, unless they have multiple losses and it has come into a complicated grief loss. Then it would end up as a medical and clinical depression. However, anger and sadness may remain underneath all of this. The next stage and the last stage that she really developed was acceptance. The anger and sadness may taper off, and one may actually accept the reality of the loss. However, they may find they're going back and forth in the stages, and please give yourself permission to backslide, because that's really important in our grief stages. One day you may accept briefly, say, I know he or she is not ever coming back. And the next time, you may be back to denial. But, if I had gone through this, and not accepted at all, and go back to where you're feeling comfortable, that's the important part of this. And please, you're going back and forth in many, many, many different times. Anger is another one, bargaining, depression, denial, and acceptance. But those were her stages that she really developed during the time that she was working with dying children, and really exhibited the impression in her mind that we go through these same stages after our losses. And again, the loss necessarily does not have to be death, but we still have those losses. Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross really developed the impetus for grievers. And at that time, many people really didn't even look at grief and loss, grief as anything that people were going through. You just get through it. However, once she developed the stages and once she came on the scene, her books are wonderful. She has since died, unfortunately. She cared for her own mother, and what she did with her own mom is her mother didn't deal with anything throughout her life. And towards the end of her life, she had a massive stroke. She lived 4 years through that, and Elizabeth took care of her. She bathed her, she fed her, did everything she had to do. And she told her, she said, "Mom, if you had dealt with your grief, you would not be in this state." But her mom couldn't accept that. It was very hard for her. So Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross really tried to help her mom through her lifetime. And, coming from Switzerland, she could not hear that. And many people can't. But it's really important because somehow it can manifest physically through a diagnosis, through any kind of physical ailment, when we're not dealing with our grief and loss. Thank you. Thank you for listening.